Hi, I'm Vaishak Kapadia. I'm back for VC Circles, the classroom show. I'm going to be talking about the registration and the taxes applicable to a company. The first and the most important registration is the permanent account number. The permanent account number is required to be obtained by every person or a company since it is required for filing income tax returns, claiming tax credits, and other transactions which would require the tax registration number. This is required to be obtained by the company as soon as it is incorporated or latest by 31st May of the assessment year in which the income of the company has become taxable. The next registration is the tax deduction account number. This is required to be obtained and quoted while deducting tax. Further, this has to be obtained within 1 month of the month in which the tax has been deducted. The third registration is the service tax registration. This is required to be obtained by the company only if it is providing services. Further, this needs to be obtained within 30 days of the service being provided. The next registration would be a central sales tax registration or the VAT registration. The central sales tax registration is required to be obtained when goods are sold between two states, whereas the VAT, the value added tax registration, is required when the goods are sold within the same state. These registrations have to be obtained within 30 days of the tax being applicable to the company. The next registration would be the Employee Provident Fund registration. This registration is required for providing provident funds for the employees of the company, pension funds, and deposit-linked insurance plans. This registration is only required if there are more than 20 employees hired by the company. The next set of benefits that one needs to consider is the employee state insurance benefits. This is required to ensure that appropriate benefits are given to the employees in case of sickness, injury, or maternity leave. This is required to be obtained only if there are more than 20 employees hired by the establishment and these employees are drawing more than Rs 15,000 of wages per month. A company may be required to obtain shops and establishment registration also. It is this registration which governs the working hours, the holidays that would have to be granted to the people working therein, and certain other benefits or certain other manners in which the establishment has to be run. A company can even consider applying for a trademark in order to ensure that the intellectual property of the company, the logo or the mark, is appropriately protected. Once an application has been made with the trademark registry, the company can put a TM mark as against the mark, and once the registration has been granted by the registrar, they can put a R mark along it. The next registration that may be required is an industrial license. If the company is in the business of manufacturing of goods, it would be required to obtain an industrial license if the industry is under compulsory licensing, the goods that are manufactured are reserved for small-scale industries, or thirdly, owing to projects affected by locational reservation. Lastly, if the company is in the business of import and export of goods, then it is required to obtain an import-export code from the Director General of Foreign Trade. One needs to keep in mind the relevant taxes that would be applicable to a company. The income tax rate for a domestic company is 30%, whereas that for a foreign company is 40%. An additional education cess of 3% is also applicable. In case the income of the company exceeds Rs 1 crore, then a 5% surcharge is applicable in case of domestic companies and 2% in case of foreign companies. The dividend distribution tax that is applicable to a company is 16.22%. Further, the excise duty that would be payable on all excisable goods would be approximately 12.36%. The fourth tax is the service tax. If the company is in the business of providing services, then one needs to bear in mind that the service tax applicable would be 12.36% on the taxable service. In case of the value added tax, this would actually depend on its state specific statute, because it would vary from state to state, and further It would also vary depending on the item on which the VAT is applicable. In addition to the taxes that I just explained to you, the other major important tax that may be applicable to a company is a capital gains tax. A capital gains tax is applicable in case of a sale of asset. This asset could be shares or it could be immovable property or various other assets that may be held by a company. However, to cover capital gains tax would mean opening Pandora's box, so you can catch that in one of our other episodes. Right now, from me, Vaishak Kapadia, this is saying goodbye. Thank you.